on, people? So this is my first time doing this type of video. I'm actually going to be talking to one of my online clients, Dr. Jamel Miller, who lost 33 pounds in 16 weeks. We're going to talk about kind of how he started, what roadblocks he has, as well as let you all know that you can still accomplish your fitness goals no matter how busy you are. Pretty soon here, you all will hear exactly how busy Dr. Miller was during our time working together. So I'll let him go ahead and give a formal introduction, and then we'll get right into the conversation.
All right. All right. I appreciate that, dude. Thank you for having me. Again, I'm Dr. Jamel Miller. I'm a full-time dad. I work full-time. I have a couple ventures going on the side. Um, I'm gonna leave more time for this interview, so I'm just gonna keep it there. I'm gonna be brief, and I guess we can just jump right into the video.
Okay, perfect. So you had reached out to me initially a couple years ago asking about training, saying you wanted to, do an online program, but it didn't pan out, and we had discussed that before we started training earlier this year. So kind of let's start with the initial step of when you first reached out to me, because we knew each other at Purdue.
Mhm.
Dr. Miller was a PhD student while I was an undergrad at Purdue, so that's how we met. We're in the
Mhm.
same fraternity, yo to the Noops. So
Yo.
he knew that I was very active and that I was a trainer. But when he reached out to me, I think I was living in Chicago at the time, and he was still finishing up his PhD. But we didn't connect for online training yet. So kind of go through what your mindset was then and why we didn't start it up back then.
Mhm. Yeah. And I'm trying to think. I'm trying to reflect back. Um, I knew you were doing your fitness thing, and I knew that I wanted to get into better shape. But I guess the roadblock was really me. Just like any other adult, it's easy to make excuses as far as why you shouldn't start something such as fitness or enhancing your health. I knew I always wanted to get in better shape. And I guess really what it all boiled down to, I saw myself in the mirror. And I know you probably heard that, people probably heard that before. I really saw myself in the mirror. One day I got out of the shower and I told you about the story. Um, and I was like, man, I don't look good and I don't feel good about myself. And I told you this part too. I said, I'm married. And I said, well, my wife, she sees me getting out the shower and she's looking at me every day in clothes. And because she loves me, she's not really gonna be harsh. And she's gonna love me, for better or for worse. And so I'm like, well, if I don't like what I see, I know she don't like what she's looking at. So I was like, man, I gotta do something. I gotta reach out to Keith. And so I finally made the decision just to kind of move forward with that. I reached out to Keith and said, hey, look, man, I want to get serious about my health. I wanted to lose weight to look better, but also being a dad, I was thinking about the longevity of being here as long as possible for my kids. So the two went hand to hand, so it made sense. But as Keith alluded to earlier, it took me a while to get there. At first we really didn't connect because because of life. As you mentioned, I was a PhD student. He was a student there. When we graduated or we went our separate ways, I went to Georgia. He went to Chicago. He went to Charlotte first, actually, then went to Chicago. And I don't know if I really had faith in an online coach. I always thought about fitness and having a personal trainer being right there, pushing you in your ear, hey, give me one more. So it really wasn't believable to me. However, because I know I reached out to Keith a couple times, and I know this guy's thinking he's probably thinking I'm bullshit because I said, hey man, you know, I'm gonna get with you. I see you doing your personal fitness business. I'm gonna support you because I like to support, especially he's, you know, we're frat. He's a black man. You know, I like to support, you know, black businesses. I said, you know, I'm gonna support you. You know, I got some weight loss goals, and we never hooked up at first. And I know he probably thought I was bullshitting, and then so finally, you know, I hit that moment where I was like, man, I got to do something about my health, and so that's when I called him, and you know, he was, you know, I saw first, you know, let me go back to this, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but I didn't know how effective online coaching would be. But then I started doing a lot of research and I started following Keith on his social media platforms and I saw his presence. And so once I saw his presence and once I saw that, you know, I know Keith doesn't have kids right now, but he is a busy man. So it's all about trying to fit this into your schedule, you know, while being busy. And he's getting it done. He's looking good. He has time to work full time. You know, he's married. You know, he has these big business ventures, and he's creating these videos, editing these videos. So he has time, and he still managed to find time to make this all come together. And I said, you know what? His presence of seeing that showed me that it can be done. And so I just had to stop making excuses, right? The excuses are tools of incompetence. But so I just said, you know, I had to just move forward with it and just give it a shot and say, make a decision to say, hey, look, I'm at least going to give it a try. You know, it's really on me because it's easy. It's real easy to find every excuse in a book to distract you from going to the gym and remaining consistent with, you know, what you've been told to do in terms of the online fitness coaching and well-being. It's doable. It's hard, but it's doable. And so that's basically how we come to connect with this. And we began in July this past summer, and now here it is December. I haven't really been working with Keith for the past 2, maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah, I would say because it's December. I would say probably the last month.
Mm-hmm.
The
But
last
however,
month.
I'm gonna pick back up real soon. You know, around the holidays, just had a lot of traveling. You know, a lot of you know, events going on. Responsibly though, wearing your mask and stuff like that. But we're gonna pick it back up. And I'm not, you know, I ain't gonna get into that. I just need to kind of, you know, stay on the path. It's not that I fell off. I just need to stay on the path. It's more than just like online telling you what to eat, telling you what exercises to do. At least, you know, my experience with Keith, you know, he is very patient, very cooperative. I could call him, you know, I'm gonna respect anybody's time, so I'm not gonna blow anybody up. But you know, anytime I send him a text, you know, he will respond in timely fashion. Anytime I had some questions about, you know, anything I was confused about or my diet or throughout the journey, if I said, man, you know, I'm really not feeling good, or I don't see a change, or I don't feel a change. And, you know, he was real good about consulting about, you know, my next steps. And so, you know, I was very pleased with the whole process, you know, overall. So there's that little bit about, you know, that first question you asked me. So we can move
Okay.
forward.
Yeah, and going back to what you were saying earlier about you have reached out to me a couple of times. So I did think you were serious. In my mind, I was like, whenever he's ready to start, you know, he'll let me know because, you know, if somebody, this is how I look at it. If somebody can get a PhD
Yeah.
and they can grind through that,
Mhm.
they could do an online coaching program because, you know, how many years were you in your PhD program?
Roughly 5.
And for a large majority of that time, you were working while getting your PhD and you were a father.
Yes.
So I knew it was a thing of time needed to be more, you needed more time. You needed more, you know, an extra hour in a day in order to be able to get that workout in. So a lot of people will say, you know, I don't have time to work out. You know, I have kids, I have to work. So I want you to speak on that
Hmm.
firsthand, like how you were able to have time to not only work out, but also to meal prep. Because for those of you all who may not know, Dr. Miller was cooking and
Hmm.
prepping his food during our 16 weeks working together. And one of the things that I always appreciate about people I work with is that they ask questions. Because if somebody's not asking questions, unless you've worked with me before, then I'm going to assume that you may not be taking the plan as serious as you should be.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, so as I mentioned earlier, it's easy, especially when you're a working adult and you consider if you have a family and you have to be a sufficient father and provider, and partner, um, and all that entails, in conjunction with, all that it takes to meal prep, all, the time you have to consider out of your day when you're going to make that trip to the gym or outside, or your personal gym or wherever you go to get it in. And also, you know the time it takes to meal prep, it took some getting used to. um, but um, once you kind of laid out your blueprint, it became easier over time. So the hardest part, I guess what I'm trying to say, the hardest part is to really understanding your life and understanding everything in your life, uh, kind of mapping out the times that you are available to go to the gym, when you are going to take that trip to the grocery store, when you are going to meal prep. Once you understand all that and where everything fits in, then you have to kind of work towards applying that. And once you do that for the first, you know, I would even say a couple of days, well, weeks, let's say weeks, because it takes some getting used to. It becomes routine. Just like when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do, you go to the bathroom, you go brush your teeth, you iron your clothes, whatever your morning routine is, it becomes routine. You expect to do it weekly, especially once you start seeing the results. See, it's always hard at first because you're at the beginning and there's no result. There are no results, and sometimes, I mean, it's gonna vary. Maybe you're a person that the first week I saw results, so that was a little encouraging and motivating. But maybe you don't see the results or the results that you want at first, so it's kind of disheartening, right? But like I said, we started July, and now here it is December, and I lost at least 30 pounds. And so that right there within itself, it makes you see the possibility of actually losing weight, and what I would say the actuality of losing weight, as long as you stick to the script. You have to figure out for yourself, based on your life, um, how to do this. And like I said before, Keith was instrumental in doing that, and he's right. Pursuing a doctorate, it took a lot of work. Kind of the same type of approach, because there were times where I felt like I'd never get this done. There were times where I felt like, you know, am I smart enough? There were times where I wanted to give up. You know, but it's all about sticking to the process, continuing down that road, and you will see the results as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Now, um, yeah. So that's my take on that question. I'm trying to uh, think if I missed something. Did I miss something, Key?
No, you're good. You're good. And
Okay,
just to make sure I'm right, because we didn't say exactly how many kids you have 5 kids, right?
that's correct.
5 kids. So
And
literally
all school age.
all school age. So he was having to, everything that's going on this year. I'm not going to say the word because the YouTube algorithm might not like me saying the word, and I want to be sure this video gets out to a lot of people. But people were locked up pretty much all of 2020. So he was doing this on top of having his kids at home with him.
And I
So
was working from home.
and he was working from home. So there's literally no excuse if you want to accomplish this goal. And I always related to something that everybody can relate to. Everybody may not have gone to college, but the majority of people went to high school. So if you needed to get a certain GPA in order to play sports or whatever, you did whatever was necessary to make that possible. And one of the things I noticed with a lot of people, the older we get, the more excuses we make for why we can't do something. And it's literally just an excuse, because if you prioritize it, you can get it done. Now, some people can go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week. Some people can only go to the gym 3 days a week, which is fine. It's still better than nothing. Like, we know one of the, well, not one of the leading cause of death is heart disease. And what causes that? Bad diet. So the sooner you get educated about things like that, and I'm not saying people have to walk around with 8 packs, beach bodies. It's just being able to live a healthier lifestyle. And I know, me and you talked about this, like, you want to be able to go outside and play sports with your kids.
Mhm.
But once they get into sports, you don't want to be the dad that's like, no, I'm too tired, or I can't perform, or the dad that's losing to his kids in sports before they are of age to really be able to beat you.
Exactly. Yeah, my youngest, my youngest is my daughter, and so I have to be able to be there with her. If
Right.
you follow me.
Yeah. I follow you. So I think everybody, my audience follows you too.
Yeah,
So how old is
yeah.
your youngest?
She's one.
She's
She's brand
one. So
new.
yeah. So he got at least 20 more years to stand in tip top shape.
Mhm. Yeah, I said, man, part of my goal was longevity and just living a better lifestyle, and because like you hit on a important topic, especially with us black males, man. We're we have been known to be the last to go to the doctor. We wait until something happened, or something has already manifested in our bodies. We need to do a better job of getting on top of our health, because your health is connected to your mental wellness, is connected to your success at your career, or your entrepreneurship, or whatever it is you do in life. Everything is interconnected, and the better you feel inside and the better you look on the outside, the better, I believe in that energy, the better you're going to do, just in life in general. Even with your moves, I've when you have as many kids as I do, you have a lot of stress going on if you allow that to get to you. But I can honestly say, working out, I built up to the point where I was literally going to work out every day. Now, I didn't, you don't do some of the same stuff every day, but I built up to that point where I was going every day. And when I first started, I didn't, my energy was low. And I went from here to here. Like, I woke up wanting to go to the gym before I did anything, especially on the weekends. I look forward to going to the gym. So I got to the point where it was, like I said, it became routine. It was expected that I go. And when you have, when you go from doubt to this is my expectation, that says a lot, and that's very telling of your new lifestyle. And it's achievable. It's doable. You can get to that point, with the right, like, coaching and mindset and dedication. And I always reflected it back to when I first started to our fraternity, and our motto, achievement in every field of human endeavor. Um, and all the things we learned through our process. I'm just gonna leave it there. We learned about sacrifice, and we learned about what it means to go from point, achieving, going from point A to Z in terms of trying to achieve, well, accomplishing your goals. And so I knew I could do it. I just had to get the right mindset, and it's mostly mental, to be honest with you. Um, Again, you can find every excuse in the book not to go to the gym, because most people, I'll tell you about me. Um, the times where when I thought I was trying to get into shape and I was going to the gym, but I really wasn't doing anything because it's more than just going to the gym pumping iron. You have to understand your body, your weight, your macros, what to eat, when to eat it, how much protein, all that. And that's where Keith came into play. So sometimes you can have people going to the gym 5-7 days a week and they look the same, or they don't, or they feel the same because they're not really getting their body nurtured how it's supposed to be in terms of intaking the proper nutrients, protein, everything else that's conducive to kind of achieving that transformation that you want to see happen. So, a lot of going back, a lot of times when I didn't go to the gym, I would say, man, I got to do this or I got to do that. You know what? I'll be at home watching a TV series, and I'm like, I could be at the gym right now, or I'll be at home and I'll be eating bad, and I was like, so, but I made the excuse just not to go to the gym because I was too lazy. And I'm just gonna put it bluntly. A lot of times I was just too lazy to go. I wanted to go, but I didn't go. But I guess that really means I didn't want to go. But just being lazy and not really making that decision to say yes and go. On the days, and it's not to say you don't have I don't have lazy days now, because Lord knows I do. But again, my expectation, I built up my expectation to say, hey, look, this is part of my daily routine now. So even if I'm feeling lazy or unmotivated, I just go to the gym. I just go, just get your butt up, get your keys, and go to the gym and get in there. And once you get in there, get on that bike, what I'm saying, get that blood moving, get motivated, turn your music up or whatever gets you going. I used to play a lot of Pastor Troy. That's what I grew up on. So that used to get me going, man. So, yeah, I didn't really take energy drinks. Now I've tried them before, and now I don't need those. I don't even, I'm not saying that I needed them at first. I think with advertisement and commercial, we think we need this stuff. Like, oh, I need to go get a Red Bull, this stuff. And it does have caffeine, but you have to be careful with that stuff because, well, with the workouts Keith was giving me, you're gonna get your heart rhythm up if you hit it how he tell you to hit it. So you don't need that added caffeine. You just got to get there and get your blood going. So
Right.
or sleep. See, a lot of times you don't have energy, and this was my problem. I would stay up late and try to catch especially with, I ain't gonna say it like you said, with this, what we're in now, this era. I would stay up late because, I guess we think we're bound to the house. And I would try to catch up on TV shows, series, and I'll get maybe 4-5 hours tops of sleep, and that wasn't healthy for me. Not only for the gym and energy, but just kind of like my body. My body, was tired, and so a lot of times it's just the things we do in our life that create this feeling of tiredness. And again, in my case, it was sleep and alcohol. What else? Those are two biggest ones: sleep, alcohol, and really what we're putting in our bodies. Once I started cleaning up my diet, I mean, my poop became regular. Um, it didn't. This might be too bold, but it didn't smell as bad. I'm not saying it didn't smell, but it didn't smell as bad. I wasn't. I was rarely constipated because I was drinking enough water. I felt better because the stuff that I was putting in my body, I guess with all the additives and preservatives and stuff that they put in the food today, it's just not good for your body. And I'm not by any means saying that I'm perfect at food intake, because there's still a lot of work to be done. I still have a long way to go. I'm still not, even though I lost 30 pounds, I'm not that satisfied because I know there's more work to be done. And and I know I can improve my diet even more. But with like I said, with Keith's diet plan, it helps you out in improving your diet. And so as long as you stick to it, I remember one time Keith, I was like, man, I think I was about 6 weeks in on your program, and I said, man, I'm thinking about a cheat meal. He's like, man, you don't need a cheat meal. It's like, you're not ready for a cheat meal. And so he told me, he's like, look, you can't have a cheat meal this week. I forget what week it was. He said, okay, well, I'm gonna let you have a cheat meal. It was a Saturday. He said cheat meal, not a cheat whole day, right? So even with the cheat meal, so I went to Chick-fil-A, right? It wasn't really an elaborate cheat meal, but it was a cheat meal. I went to Chick-fil-A. And that next morning, I was like, man, I can see why he said you're not ready for a cheat meal, because even one cheat meal, I felt like, and I can't remember, I put on like 2 or 3 pounds. And I'm like, man, I said, all this work I've been doing, at that time, I was probably down, what, maybe 10, 15 pounds, if that. And
I think, it was like, like 12 to 15 pounds, I believe. And the thing is, like, after a cheat meal, putting on the 2 to 3 pounds, that's not out of the norm. That's normal with a cheat meal. But the thing is, it's like we add the cheat meals in when it's time to add the cheat meals versus doing it too soon, because the way that I do the coaching is I like for people to, get into that routine. I like to understand what foods are affecting your body and, looking at the calories as well as the macronutrients. So then even when you had the Chick-fil-A, we talked about, I was like, that weight's going to be gone by in 2 days, which it fell back off, but it was just that initial, because you weren't used to eating at Chick-fil-A anymore like you used to. So you had consumed a lot of calories that particular day, but then like something switched in your mind. You was like, because I tried to give you cheat meals later on in the plan. You was like, no, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
You was like,
Yeah, and
no,
I think
you like, no, I'm good. I don't even want it.
yeah, and I think it's because, now I'm not comparing, because the two are not that comparable really, but the concept of like relapsing, right? Or just look at negating the fact of what the work I just done the previous week, and I'm not at my goals yet. So if this week I lost 3 pounds, and we already worried about, man, losing weight takes so much time, and time discourages people. That's what really discourages people, because we're not a patient society anymore. But it's just like working on your credit. If you have bad credit, or working on your GPA in school, it takes time to build that thing up. And so my thing was, it excited me out, because I said, man, I worked hard this whole week for 3 pounds, or 2 or 3 pounds to come off, and that cheat meal put it right back on. So I'm at square one. So that put me back a week. That's how I looked at it. Now, I'm not saying cheat meals are not okay, but I wasn't at my goal yet that I wanted to hit. So, if I was at my goal, maybe I felt different, but that wasn't the case. And so, because I really didn't think, because I think it was like a little mini lesson, teachable moment, because I think you're like, okay, even though I don't think you really wanted me to have it, but you're like, okay. And I think it was like a teachable moment. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to show him what it does. He's going to see what it does to his body. And then, you're going to see why your formula is, hey, you're not ready for that cheat meal. I'll let you know when you're ready for the cheat meal. And it was a teachable moment, because now I see why, sometimes, whoever your trainer is, and they say, well, you're not ready for a cheat meal, because it's gonna have that effect, at least on my body, the way my body works. I don't know for everyone, but because people are different. But for me, it was like going back to square one. I'm like, nah, man, I worked so hard this whole week. This Chick-fil-A went in the gym with me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, man,
Right. And
I can't do that. I can't do that, man.
right. And that's a good point you bring up, because like every trainer is going to be different. Like now it's a big thing going on about, flexibility, which I think flexibility is important. But to me, flexibility doesn't mean you have to eat, fast foods all the time and think like things like that, because I made sure, even though it wasn't cheat meals in there when we first started off, I made sure that you weren't eating the same thing every day. And then if you ask me, could you have something instead of another option? I'm like, yeah, let's see how much of it you can have. And so my approach to it is like with the whole flexibility thing, like, yes, you should be flexible with your diet and still be able to achieve your goals, but you have to keep that in reason. So if somebody is who has been having a cheat meal every other day, that shouldn't be their first question if they're signing up to work with any coach. Well, when can I have a cheat meal? Like, no, to me, like I always think about put in the work to get the results that you want.
Mhm.
So it's like don't approach something already looking for a shortcut, which is that's what I appreciated about working with you because you just put in the work. I mean, you had that cheat meal and I knew that it was gonna fall right back off, but mentally you seeing what it did to the scale, you were like, man, it's not even worth it. So
Mhm.
it's like, okay, we got right back on it. So it didn't like destroy everything, but
Mhm.
it put things into perspective. Like the cheat meal is gonna always be there.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
they gonna always be there. So when people sign up for coaching, yeah, it'll be cheat meals in there. But how I like to do it, I don't like to have a cheat meal in there for the first couple of weeks to see how people are responding to the plan because I'm trying to help them get to their goal and exceed the goal if possible.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
now if somebody has a different goal, let's say somebody's gaining weight or bulking up, then yeah, their cheat meals may be in there starting that first week. But you lost over 30 pounds. Like we weren't worried about cheat meals. We worried about a lifestyle change, getting you healthy so that you can live a long life
Mhm.
with your kids, with your wife, all that. And it's
Mhm.
like, all right, we were done training. You still working out, like you said, you gained a couple pounds, but I mean that's normal. Like
Yeah.
gaining 5 pounds, that you lost 33 pounds. Like
Mhm.
gaining 5 pounds is not
Mhm.
anything
Yeah.
bad. We just had Thanksgiving. Your wife's
Mhm.
birthday was in October, I believe. I think you went to
Yep.
order for that.
October.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's like, you're enjoying life, but you didn't go back and gain 30
Mhm.
pounds
Mhm.
because you had already made that lifestyle change to
Yeah.
where you know, okay, yeah, I can eat this, but I have to eat it in moderation. I can't just eat
Exactly.
a certain way every day and then I gain the weight right back. So that's
Yeah.
why even from time to time, you might hit me up and ask me something. I'll be like, yeah, just do this. Or you would send me a
Mhm.
video of you still working in the gym. The
Mhm.
hardest part for people is the consistency because, like you said, it's gonna be days where you feel lazy. Like people ask me all the time, how do you stay motivated to go to the gym? And I don't think people realize that it's just as hard for me as anybody else. Like it's become a habit of mine. I worked out today. I didn't feel like going to the gym, but
Mhm.
to me, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody would
Mhm.
do it. It's not supposed to be easy. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but it's a rewarding challenge. And like I said, whatever somebody's fitness goals is, they can achieve it. Like I said, it doesn't have to be the beach body. It could be get stronger, or somebody
Mhm.
can be into rock climbing. I'm doing MMA stuff now on top of working out because it's just something I enjoy and it's something that will help me improve my conditioning. So
Yeah.
whatever it is that somebody enjoys doing in order to be more active, more fit, and have a less sedentary lifestyle, because technology has completely just forced people to just sit on social media, scroll, and eat. And
Yep.
then anytime you call somebody out on it, everybody gets sensitive about it. But it's like I just call a spade a spade. And that's how I am. So that's why I liked working with you so much because you put in the work. Even if it was a week where you were like, I feel like I'm slowing down, we talked about it. You contacted me. You didn't just say, I'm done. I'm gonna go back to what I was doing. It's like, okay, how can we pivot? How can we change things to ensure that you continue making progress?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, the relationship and I'm speaking to your audience with me and Keith in terms of this dynamic, it's very important that you communicate week in and week out your, whatever happened during that week. Communicate any shortcomings or even your successes. Like I used to send the videos, I send them a picture with my shirt on, but just because that stuff keep you motivated. And part of keeping you motivated, even when you think you're not progressing, is having that open communication because that's Keith's expertise. So I don't understand the fitness industry as he does. He has knowledge, so he can provide a different insight of why your body may be doing this. To give you a different perspective on maybe revisit rather your food. Are you weighing your food? Do you got to purchase a scale? Are you weighing your food properly? Because that's very important. I think, but the biggest thing is that I enjoy working with Keith as well because he taught me a lot of things. For example, if you don't feel like going to the gym because let's say you're bored or you're sick of the gym, you don't have to go in the gym to get that cardio in or the calisthenics in. You can go in your backyard. I remember one time I made up a game with my sons in the backyard, and we kind of ran around, and I picked them up, squatting with them, putting them on my back, carrying them, stuff like that. So if you don't go to the gym, I think don't beat yourself down. That's okay. But I think you have to replace it with some type of activity. Now it may not be as intensive, but some type of activity just so you won't be sitting there. I recall a time where you told me like sometimes you're at the house watching TV and you might during a commercial or something get down and pump out 20 push-ups, just to do something. And I used to do that. I used to have my son on my back and just see how many I can do, just see how many I can do. Just different things I don't think we really think about while we're at home. Even I remember a couple of times I'm sitting on the couch and I just kind of act like I'm doing squats, just kind of stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down without weights. And, it was just giving me that illusion that I was in the gym and that I was, working out. But I mean, I actually, it got my heart rate up and I was burning calories. Now, again, I'm not saying it's always as intensive as the gym workouts, but it's doing something. So, the biggest thing I learned is the education around, the different ways in which you can actually work out, because I had a narrow vision of working out. I thought it was, just go to the gym, lift heavy weight, and eat clean. But even eating clean is kind of tricky, because you have to, like I mentioned this earlier, you have to get the right nutrients from the, different food groups and stuff like that. And he can help you out with that. And let me talk about, he mentioned earlier about swapping things out. And so first I want to kind of address this thing of a cheat meal, right? So how did we come to define cheat meal? Why cheat meals? This is something I had to grapple with. Why do cheat meals have to be something fast food, right? Why does it have to be a pizza? Who put that ideal into our heads, right? Like, how do we, it tastes good, right? I guess that's why most of us define cheat meal. Something tastes good, something I crave for, I guess. But what he also taught me indirectly is that there are foods out here that are healthy and you can prepare them in healthy ways that taste just as good. And they don't give you as many calories or it's not that bad for you. For example, fish. I mean, there's different ways to prepare fish, with the exception of frying, and with all the vegetable toppings or, just things you could pair with it. So I did a lot of research on what foods I can, kind of create, in terms of variation. And I mainly, and he spoke about, the holidays, my wife's birthday. So also what I learned when you go out, so when we do have an event, I don't eat crazy. I still stick to my diet plan from Keith. Now I will tell you, but I might, like I said, if we go out at night, I might just get like, baked fish and greens, and I just eat in moderation, as he mentioned earlier. So there's a way to kind of trick your body into thinking you know, enjoying the food to the fullest, like these cheat meals that we kind of conceive, traditionally could conceive of. So there's a way, there's ways you can, like I say, trick your body, you know, drink your water. You just have to really just kind of, and actually it's funny because when you do have a busy lifestyle, that's perfect for not sitting around thinking about food. Right? Think about it. If you're so busy, then you shouldn't be thinking about food, and you shouldn't have food in your hand every waking minute. But for some reason, we trick ourselves into thinking that, oh, we don't have time for the gym, but we have time to go get this food. We have time to sit down and eat. We have time to watch this show. But if your day is accounted for, when do you have time to eat? You really don't. So I had to learn how to kind of slowly evolve my lifestyle, and it's still evolving. Like, again, it's not perfect, you know, but you know, it takes work and time. I mean, you got to be patient. I mean, I was at 228, I believe, 228
Yeah,
when we first
228
started,
and dropped down to 195.
and so at 228. Now, before I had that moment where I got out the shower and I was like, man, I don't look good. I don't like how I look. I mean, what my wife's saying about me, but or what she's thinking about me. But you know, I didn't really think I looked that bad. That's the crazy part. For the longest, you know, we wear our clothes. You know, I never wore like tight, skinny stuff, you know, ever. But you know, we buy our clothes comfortable, so we kind of like hide it, right? And so that's kind of like an insecurity. We buy clothes to hide behind our insecurities, at least for me. And so I really didn't really, and no one, like Keith said earlier, no, everybody 2 cents. Nobody's gonna tell you, hey, bro, man, you might want to hit that gym. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's all about presentation, but he's right. We have no, so in my job, in my profession, we have evaluations, right? If you're not performing well here or in this arena, we can get called to the carpet. Or you know, if you have children, we say we address the, you know, the areas that need to be addressed with our children in terms of raising them. Or you know, your husband or your wife, you talk about finances, you talk about travel, you talk about bills, you know, you address everything else. So why can't we address, and again, it's about presentation. I understand that you can, hey, Newt, you fat as hell. I ain't talking about that. I'm saying, look, why are we not receptive to, and I know, I kind of know the answer to this, and you know, in America with in these conceptions of what is beautiful and being beautiful. But anyway, not to get too far in the weeds, why can't we call each other out, or discuss rather, you know, healthy, you know, weight or weight goals, and trying to change our lifestyle, you know, in terms of our personal well-being. Like he's right. You know, had somebody told me well before this, like when I was already at 185, hey, Newt, man, you done blew up like 10 pounds. Look like you need to kind of work on that. You know, you won't have to fight against this uphill battle. You know, because you can just maintain at that point. But because we made it so taboo, and you know, everybody's saying where you body shaming or you're insensitive, or you may you know, feel some type of retribution because you said something to somebody, and you really innocently wanted to kind of have a conversation, a dialogue about, you know, being healthy. You know, we're not receptive. So he's right. I mean, had someone told me that earlier, I would have got on this earlier, you know, but which, you know, it's funny because I had a conversation with my wife. I said, hey, so I said, now that I'm losing weight, I said, you comment how good I'm looking. I said, but you never told me how fat I was getting. So, you know, and I, you know, we joke about it, but it's just, I don't want to be mean. I'm like, see, that's the problem right there, right? And if you got a significant other, they're not going to be mean to you. They're probably not going to say that stuff. It's like when your breath stinks. You probably say, hey, baby, you ain't going out with your breath stink. You'll tell somebody their breath stink, right?
Right.
So we need to say, hey, look, we need to, and the way you can do it is say, hey, let's meal prep together. You know, if you don't want to address it directly, you know, because I got, you know, I got my wife thinking about meal prepping and eating and you know how I'm eating and stuff like that. So, you know, there's ways, like I say, you can address is all I'm saying. So
Yep, agree 100%. So I definitely appreciate you doing this interview with me. If anybody has questions for Dr. Miller, leave them below in the comment section. It could be anything as far as you know, how he was able to, well, what times he worked out, how long he worked out, or anything. And I'll be sure he gets those questions and they get responded to on the video. Um, you know, you're not really big on social media or anything, so I won't have any like social media links to drop. But is there anything you wanted me to have people check out as far as in your work life, PhD life, as far as, because I know you have articles and things like that. I can link them to this video if you want people to check that out.
yeah, well, um, basically, I have two published articles out right. Well, I have one book chapter and one published article, and I got one in the works. If you would like to read those, um, just as Keith mentioned, just kind of make that comment, and we can make those available. But I guess before we conclude this meeting, I just want to kind of leave with you know saying these last words. I think for whoever is kind of teetering on the fence about you know how effective online coaching really is, I think you know, and I'm not being biased because you know I know Keith, we're frat brothers. You know, I think he's genuinely a good dude, but I've actually went through his program twice. I should, and I kicked myself. I said I should have signed up for the 12 week or the 16 week, you know. But anyway, um, if you're skeptical or you have kind of apprehension, you probably need to ask yourself why is that? It's really because there's something going on in your life, or there's some kind of roadblock in your life that that's preventing you from actually starting. And I would say if you do, I would recommend you go with Keith. But you know, whoever you decide to go with, you have to make sure that you know they have the knowledge. You have to make sure that they're just not in it for the money. You have to make sure that you have access to them, and within that access, you have to make sure that you can contact them and they actually get back to you in a timely fashion. And it's just not, they don't make you seem like a bother. So none of that happened with my experience. And I'm telling you firsthand, a lot of it is going to be the coaching, but the the central part of it is going to be you and your dedication to everything. I'm telling you, if you stick to the script, so to speak, you're going to lose weight. It's not going to happen fast, but you will see results once you get to that point where you kind of understand your body and Keith understand your body, and because everybody loses weight at a different rate, right? So whatever your rate is, 1 to 2 pounds a week, 3 to 4 a week, it's going to depend on how well you eat, how hard you hit the workouts, how much you sleep. Um, you're going to see that within probably your third or fourth week if you do, you know, what you're told to do. Or I know people don't like to be told what you're coached to do. But it works. Like I said, just takes discipline and dedication. Um, I think I think you will learn a lot, not only about your own body, but you will start making connections to the larger context with you know in terms of your whole life, and you'll find a positive energy will start coming your way, and your mood swings will be better. So that's all I have to say. If you have any questions for me personally, because I keep it real, you know, like I said, if there was anything that I didn't like, I would tell y'all right here in this interview, you know. But I think you're making a good choice, and it says a lot about you if you're thinking about doing it. You know, you have to start somewhere. So I would say move forward, and you know, just stick with it, and it'll work. That's all I have to say.
All right, appreciate it, Noop. Everybody, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will be linking Dr. Miller's article in the description if you all want to check that out.